Namaskar students, transport of water and minerals in the plant. Water is transported upward from the roots to all other parts of the plant with the help of a tissue called as xylem. Children, you know phloem and xylem make vascular tissue, and xylem is one of the tissue under this vascular system, and this xylem conducts water throughout the plant body. And this transport of water throughout the plant is referred to as transpiration. Transport in xylem occurs with the help of certain simple physical forces. And these forces are transpirational pull, ascent of sap, cohesion, tension, etc. Children, basically these were some of the theories which were given by different scientists. So this picture is actually showing you the direction of the transport. In plants, two things are transported. One is water, other one is food. Water is always flowing in one directional. So the flow of water is always referred to as unidirectional because it is always from root to the leaves and never from the leaf to the roots. Thus it is referred to as unidirectional. On the other hand, translocation, that is transport of food throughout the plant body, it is multidirectional. So let's move to understand what is transpirational pull, what is ascent of sap, and what is cohesion tension theory. So first of all, I will be telling you something about this transpirational pull by the means of a flow chart. So the flow of water upward through the xylem in the plant. This is the first step. So what do we want? We want that water should be rising up the plant. The attractive forces between two unlike material is known as adhesion. What are the unlike materials over here? One is the water, other one is the cell membrane or cell wall, that is the walls of the cell. Both are the two different material, so you know unlike attract. So this attractive force is called as adhesion. While the water is flowing along the plant body, this adhesion or the attractive force develop. Then the next one is the attractive forces between the molecules, similar molecules of a particular liquid. Children, when the water is flowing, there are so many water molecules which are flowing. So in between the water molecules also certain forces operate, and those forces are referred to as cohesion. The spelling is COHESION. So there is a correction, please make that. The next step is most of the water is lost through the stomata in the leaves. So from the roots the water is sucked up following this adhesion, cohesion. But when transpiration occurs, now you know what is transpiration? Loss of water. When the sun is there, many water molecules are lost via stomata, or that are the pores on the leaves. So a low pressure area is created in the leaves, and this water is sucked up from the roots. Then the water loss through the evaporation is called as transpiration, and this adhesion and the cohesion force and the transpiration, you know, negative pressure generated by the transpiration, all these things together causes this transpirational pull to happen. This is again a flow chart which will be helping you to understand what happens actually. So water in the ground goes to the roots. You know how does this happen? It happens sometimes by simple diffusion, other times osmosis operates over here. Absorbed by the root hair cells, water is absorbed. goes to the root cortex. Now you know what is cortex. Cortex is the part of a root pulled up by the xylem. It is pulled up in the xylem. Children, you must have seen that when you drink cold drink with the help of a straw, some amount of cold drink is always left in the straw. So this also is a kind of transpirational pull. This is what happens this is how the water is, carried up in the plant body also. So this creates an upward movement. Now the sixth column, to the cell in the leaves, then this while doing this upward movement, finally the water reaches the leaves, and seventh one diffuses through the stomata into the leaves, and slowly and gradually this water somewhere reaches the leaf. Next slide. How water moves into the plant. This is a diagrammatic representation of how the water moves. You can easily see that there are certain soil particles and the water is present in the soil. This water is simply getting diffused into the root here. And now this is sucked up into the cortex of the cells of the root. Then it is moved up into the xylem vessels. So students, starting with the explanation of this slide. So how does this transport of water occur, or what is this transpirational pull? Transport of water and mineral occur in the plants via certain physical processes that I told you. And out of those processes, one is the transpirational pull. And what is that transpirational pull? Actually, water and minerals are absorbed by the plants via roots, and this water which is pushed into the roots or sucked up by the root hairs is passed into the xylem as a sap. Now you must be thinking as to what is sap. Sap is the solution, that is water mixed with certain salts, sugars, etc. All the mineral mixed in the water, that's it. This is what is sap. Sap present in the xylem is under tension. What is tension? Pressure. Or you can also say it is a negative pressure. Why is it created there? Because in the mesophyll cells and other cells of the aerial parts. What are the aerial parts? Leaves. When the water is lost to the outside, that's why this negative pressure is created in the xylem. You remember in the beginning I told you when transpiration occurs, so a low pressure area is created in the leaves. So in order to cover up for that low pressure area, high pressure is created in the xylem vessel, and in that high pressure more water is there. So automatically water from the higher pressure is pushed into the lower pressure. Now the second point that you need to discuss while explaining this process. This is how this negative pressure develops. Children, you can simply write what I have explained you in the previous slide, but let's study about it in detail. Loss of the water by mesophyll and other cells in the aerial part while transpiration increases their suction pressure. What is this? Suction pressure matlab suck करने की capability. So this suction pressure increases. Why? Because transpiration is increasing. जैसे जैसे transpiration बढ़ती जाएगी वैसे ही suction pressure भी बढ़ता जाएगा. They withdraw water from the xylem channels. और xylem channel कहाँ से withdraw करेंगे? They in their turn derive this water from the roots. From where the roots will suck the water? From the soil. As there are billion of the transpiring mesophyll cells withdrawing water from the xylem channel, water present in the xylem comes under negative pressure. Okay? However, water column does not break due to this negative pressure. Why? अभी बेटा क्या है? Negative pressure तो develop हो गया, but due to this negative pressure, water column break नहीं करता है. Why that water column is not getting break? Because of certain physical forces. What are those physical forces? One is cohesive force, cohesion, and other one is adhesion force. Cohesion force among the water molecule. पूरा water किससे बना है? Water molecule से. So since the molecules are similar, this process is called as cohesion. And an adhesion force is also there. What is adhesion force? It is operating between the walls of the xylem channels, xylem vessels की जो walls है, and the water molecule. So ultimately you should know that out of this all, transpiration is happening, then a negative pressure is generated in the xylem vessels, and even then the water column, which has started right from the roots, is not getting broken till the leaves. What is the reason? The reason is only one. These physical forces which are operating along with all these processes. Lastly, rise of sap. Now, how does the sap, which I have already explained you, how does this sap rises in a tall tree? So the theory, that is ascent of sap, or you can also say rise of sap. This theory states that transpirational pull, cohesion properties of water, and hydration of cell walls. What is hydration? It is simply adhesion, are collectively responsible for the ascent of sap. Students, if you get a question in the exam, what is ascent of sap? Then simply you can write this paragraph. This paragraph is more than enough for attempting a 2 marks question or a 3 marks question even for ascent of sap. If you have enough time for this, you can draw the simple diagram along with labelings also. So, now ascent of sap, you know. Tension or the negative pressure of water column results in the upward pull. Now you are clear about this, that why this upward pull is created. Again, I have already given you the example of cold drink. Plant absorb water through the roots and transpiration takes place through the leaves. Hence, water moves from root to the tip portion of the plant, and all this is happening against the gravity. So, see children, according to the gravity, the water should move towards the earth. But in this case, the water is moving upward, that is against the gravity. So this upward movement of the water from root to the aerial parts such as stem and leaves is referred to as ascent of sap. Since it develops due to transpiration, it is called as transpiration pull. And all this is very clear from the diagram which is given over there. Please refer to the diagram which is there in your NCERT book. Here also you can see a root here is there, and then soil particles are there, and around these soil particles film of water is there. This is root cortex. Water is getting sucked up, then the water is getting pulled into the xylem vessels. From the xylem vessel, it is ultimately entering the mesophyll cells which are present in the leaf. And why this column is all creating there? Because of the transpiration. Thank you so much everybody, and all the very best for your exams.